Hello, I'm Robbie Farr and you're watching Redmen TV.
Hello, welcome to Redmen TV. It's the Uncensored match build-up show and the very first of the Klopp era at Anfield. Liverpool, travelling all the way down south to take on the mighty Tottenham Hotspur, Chris. I literally, this is the most excited I've ever been for a Liverpool game in October in my entire life.
Same here. I just can't wait for it, man. The footy's probably going to be the same as it was a couple of weeks ago now. I've just built it up into this just amazing thing that we're just going to go and steamroll at Tottenham, and it's not fair that I've done that, but yeah. I'm just so friggin' excited. And I was speaking to Flad from the Fighting Cock yesterday, and he's so fucking worried about it as well. They are shitting themselves for this game, and every team will be shitting themselves regardless of how Liverpool play on Saturday against Spurs. Because at some point they know that Klopp's a good enough manager to turn this football club around, and that's what's fucking great about him. You know, everybody in the league's looking in on Liverpool now going, these are like a ticking time bomb and they're going to go off soon, and we hope that we're not going to be the team that happens against.
Absolutely. I think that's the most clear thing for me, that is that Brendan Rodgers possibly could have turned it around and we could have had a good season, because the way the fixtures are stacked, the second half of the season favours Liverpool big time. But it's just that optimism that comes with having not just a new manager, but let's be honest, a better subjective term, but a guy with a much better CV, you know, a bigger character. Everything about this game's just got me excited.
Well, it's suddenly interesting again, isn't it? I mean, Chris quoted in one of the specials the quote about we might have one or two things ready for the first game against Spurs. We couldn't get the whole thing changed, but we might have one or two. Looking forward to what's he going to do.
Yeah.
You know, what's he going to do that'll make a difference.
Yeah.
The other thing for me is that, for me, the Rodgers era probably ended with the Tottenham game last year.
Yeah.
That was like the final swan song of that way
the
Liverpool
best it
played.
could be,
yeah, and we won 3-0, and everyone thought, oh, brilliant! This isn't it? Mario's come in, could have scored a couple of headers, and you know we're going to be just as brilliant as last year. And of course, from that moment onwards, we just became rubbish. Sturridge got injured.
Yeah.
You know, it just went to pieces. And I don't think I've actually had any optimism from that moment until this one.
It always felt like it was on a knife edge, didn't it? Even when we were resurgent, when we started to play the back orbit, it felt like, oh, this is good, but it all felt like at any game it could come tumbling down. And ultimately, when we came up against United and Arsenal, it did, and we never recovered from that. But we've talked about it again. We've done a two-part Klopp and Mania, because why not, a special on the redmentv.com. It's phenomenal. Do go and check it out. But you know,
that's not what we're calling it.
Why not?
No, really, I'm editing it, we're not.
Alright, so what are we calling it?
I don't know. The future is Klopp special.
Part 1, Klopp and Mania.
Optimism in action.
Optimism in motion. But yeah, I can't remember where I'm going with this. The fact of the matter is, everything is good than it was a week ago. You know, we've struggled since the slip. As Liverpool fans, we've had this dark thundercloud hanging over our heads. It pulls back a little bit. We've had a few, at best, some pleasant days, some pleasant spring days, and we've had a lot of overcast days since then. But it does feel like, regardless, we'll have dark days, we'll have ups and downs under Jurgen Klopp, but it does feel like we've started afresh, like everything is new again.
Yeah, exactly. And if you're not feeling like that, you kind of need to have a word with yourself and possibly stop supporting football.
Yeah.
Not even Liverpool, just stop. Because ultimately, as he said, you know, only one team wins the league. There's 20 Premier League games every weekend. Half of them get beat because the other half win.
Yeah.
You know, take out draws or whatever. But most fans walk away from grounds not happy.
Yeah.
You know, it's the nature of football. By and large, there's not that much.
Yeah.
So it's that thing of like, why you can't expect it to be anything more ridiculous. So be excited. It's normally, we say it at the beginning of the season, and it's so close to the beginning of the season, we can have a second beginning of the season.
Yeah.
But we normally say, this is when it's great, because you've not played a game, you've not lost a game, you've not won a game. Optimism, you've bought new players, you don't know if they're going to work, but they've not worked yet. And exactly the same, it's this new era with a guy who I think you've got to have, as fans, consummate trust in. And you've got to have been won over by what he's said so far in his first few days in the job. So let's give him some trust. Let's go to Tottenham where we've had particularly good results in the past, and it was the spot where Rodgers actually got some really good results. There was some great memories when you look back with a bit of distance as Rodgers' time as manager, and I remember the one in the second year when we finished 2. What was that? Was that 4-0 or 5-0 in the end?
I think we beat them 9-0 over the 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one in the Christmas period,
The Christmas
when we
period,
turned it around,
yeah.
we started to play really well.
And then the one you were just talking about then was that. So let's optimistically go to Tottenham. Let's not vilify anyone if it doesn't go amazingly well, and then let's just be excited about football again.
We want to see enough to get us going. You know what I mean? And that's what he talked about and what you mentioned there. That enough glimpses to go, well, this is going to change. This is going to get different. Doesn't need to be perfect on Saturday. Doesn't. We don't need to be back to slotting teams 4-0 and 5. Oh no, exactly. You know, he's still got the same players. He's still got this and that. But we want to see signs that the players are giving more, giving their all, and they're fired up for it. That's what we're looking for. What I like, and it was a point that I can't remember if it was Gareth Roberts or Neil Atkinson on the Anfield wrote in an article, and it was like the gauntlet being sort of like laid down by Klopp, kind of saying, you need to let the go of the past. Enjoy the history. It's great. It's there, and it's always going to be there. But stop having it weigh you down. And if you can't do that, then basically go. This isn't for you. This isn't for you because you need to be able to lift that. You talk about carrying like the extra kilograms of weight on the backpack. Fuck the backpack off, and enjoy the footy for a change.
It's got to be you got to enjoy the moment, haven't you? You've got to enjoy going to the football. You've got to enjoy the camaraderie of being with other fans and supporting your team and stuff like that. And it's an atmosphere that I think he's already trying to cultivate, and it's very, very, very clever that he's already trying to do that and addressing it in his first.
We shouldn't forget that he's probably only going to have 2 days to coach the team into whatever new way you would like them to play. But also, we're going to have the Klopp effect, the new manager effect, and those players are going to play out of their skins. So it's going to be really interesting to see what we get, because I don't really know, to be honest.
No, that's right. And we talked about it on the Klopp special about how what we want to see, and the easiest way to show those early signs is to put 11 players out there who will just run through a brick wall for you and just go at it 110%, go flat out and fly into tackles and do this and that. Just get the away fans up. You know what I mean, and buzz and win them over first, because you win Anfield over by winning football matches at home. That's how you win your home ground over. You want to win your away fans over by giving them something to sing about, you know what I mean, and rewarding them for that journey. And the simplest way to do that is for every one of your players to pull together in the same direction. I think we've had too little of that at times, you know what I mean. Some players we've seen of it, it's dropped off from other players, so I want to see more like that. Because for me, let's look at the season in a bit of a wider view. We need to put Spurs in their place this season.
Yeah, I fully agree with that. I mean, it's all good looking ahead and trying to break into the top 4, but we need to be comfortably better than Tottenham first.
Yeah.
And it's great that we're focusing on the other sides, but let's not forget about Spurs. They are a good side.
Who now started to consistently finish above us.
Exactly, that's it. And they'll keep ramming that down our throats until we get back above them. And they're a good side. I say they've got a good manager, but I think potentially we're a better side. We're definitely a bigger club. We're a better club. So, let's just fucking nail them, basically, on Saturday.
Absolutely, yeah. But it is that, it's all well, Chris is dead right, it's all well and good looking at the top of the table, it's only 6 points, and, look at Man United, and look at Arsenal and all that. Right? We've got a real Spurs in first, we've got to conclusively prove, because, it's probably true going back a lot further, but for a very simple thing, two of the last 3 seasons, they finished above us. When we were to miss out on top 4, well, we comfortably missed out on top 4 last season, because again there was a team between us and that was Tottenham Hotspur, and they've got pretensions of finishing above us, and if we want to be better than we are,
they've got good players. They've also probably feel a bit aggrieved about the last 2 defeats by us at White Hart Lane, and so they'll be giving it everything.
Yeah.
So we're expecting us to be 100%, and they're going to be giving that as well, aren't they? So.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and that's the big pressure. And I guess is that they've got to rise to it. They're going to be looking at it and going, hang on, everyone's back in Liverpool, because all of a sudden all eyes are going to be on us. Everyone's going to love Klopp, and they're going to want to see. There's going to want to see that succeed. And I think that could form a little bit of resentment in opposition teams and managers and fans that we're going to have to rise to, I guess. Big question though, because again we discussed which players on part 2 of the special. We discussed which players we think might well thrive under Klopp. We discussed players that might not thrive under him. Do you have any idea how we line up in this? I guess the overriding question is, do you make sweeping changes based on what he's seen in training for a few days, or does he stick with what's been going on and I guess kind of give these guys enough rope to hang themselves with?
I think he'll change the formation, which will probably, it sounds ridiculous because it's more of an attitude that's going to be a change overall than we weren't playing 4-4-2 with Sam Allardyce style wingers with two big strikers that we pumped crosses in, and then Klopp's come in and you'd see a much more radical change. Rodgers' system is similar to Klopp, compared to very, very extreme differences. So it might be quite hard to notice the difference at first, especially, and then hopefully it'll be very easy to notice the difference because we win every game, we play comfortably. But it's more going to be an attitude and a direction of what the players do on the pitch, which can only come from later on. It's not going to be there after 2 or 3 days, especially when most of them are going to be on international break and being coached by different managers. So I imagine he'll get him into the system that he's comfortable with. That isn't a massive change from what we've been doing recently. I know it won't be 3 at the back, but it'll be a 4-2-3-1. And we've got players and personnel who can comfortably fit into that. Whether they do well in it, who knows? And then it'll be just that endeavour and that running through a brick wall and show us that you want to play for me. Earn your place. It's a blank slate. I don't know any of yous. All of yous earn your place in this. But I'd be very shocked if he didn't from day one put them in the system he wanted them to be in. And then it'll be very similar to where...
We'll see.
Yeah.
What's interesting for me is who he will play as his 2 in front of the back 4.
Yeah.
Because Henderson's not fit. I mean, Henderson and Milner would be the obvious 2, I would have thought. But, is one of them going to still be Lucas, or is one of them going to be Joe Allen, or is one of them going to be Chan? You don't know. Well, and I think that may well be some kind of a key to how he plays in future.
Yeah.
Because if he dramatically changes that, so he puts Chan into midfield where he's not really played for us, then that will immediately give you some idea of how he's thinking.
Yeah.
Well,
it's interesting because I think I've seen a few mentions to this, because like James Milner was promised under the old management, centre mid, if you sign for Liverpool. Well, those promises were not made by the current manager, so there's no guarantee that someone like James Milner will retain his place in the midfield if he doesn't think he's right.
I think that's spot on. You can't just say because Rodgers said he can play centre mid, he can play in that. He could quite easily be shifted further up the field because it's a completely different role. That to the holding midfielders, if you will, is completely different to what James Milner's been doing for Rodgers. He's been getting really far forward and stuff and pressing that. I don't think that's the role.
He's the... If we're looking at how much running people do, which is the one stat, as you said, that seems to have come out from Dortmund, Milner is our top guy consistently week in, week out. So, And
the very simple thing, there's something we said, I guess, if you it's an oversimplification, but you'd imagine Milner will fit in the short term just because as a physical prototype, he probably slots into that particular aspect of what's required. But it's going to be interesting to see because, again, like you say, you would go, if you're just based on the players who do the most mobile, have the most pace and do the most automatic running, then you'd say, well, Joe Allen, James Milner, Adam Lallana and Danny Ings are all absolute shoo-in to start that game. But then I'm going to be going, hang on, who's therefore missing out as a result? Where do they slot into a formation?
And also the fact that people have been away on international duties, playing games, tonight, tomorrow, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. He may well think, well, I've got Lucas, Coutinho, Firmino here. They've not been away. They've been training with me all week. I'm going to put them in because I know what they'll...
Yeah, exactly. It's a very, very, very real possibility. Ask then quickly, if there's one thing that you would like to see that Brendan Rodgers didn't do, whether it's in terms of tactics or whether it's in terms of personnel in the position or just the use of a particular member of the playing staff in general, what would you like that to be? I don't think he'll do it the weekend. I would like to see Joe Gomez getting a go at centre-half. And I don't necessarily think Saturday's the time to do that, but then ultimately when is the time? I wouldn't be surprised to see Martin Skrtel get a game or two to hang himself with. before he gets bombed out because you just of the political wrangling of dealing with your senior pros at the club. I don't know, but that's one I'd like to see Gomez ultimately get a go at centre half. Anyone want to throw one out?
I would like to see one of the two midfielders, if he goes with two midfielders, passing along the floor to Christian Benteke, and Christian Benteke, one or whoever the forward is, one touching it to a run from an attacking midfielder who goes past him and we score.
Yeah.
Because that is the prototype Dortmund goal. That's how they used to score goals.
Yeah.
Midfielder to the
That's how
forward.
Villa scored against us in the semi-final at Wembley.
That's how you're supposed to use that man. First time, ball goes that way or that way, and two runners or one runner go and you score. That's what I want to see. Because it's not that difficult to work on. In 2 days in the training field with our players, you should be able to get that.
It's five-a-side fantastic.
Yeah, Coach Mingele to control, to basically dominate his box.
Oh, he's only got 2 days, come on.
I thought you were saying long term.
He's only got 4 years on his contract anyway.
I thought you were saying long term, sorry. No, for Tottenham, nothing. He's got 2 days, what can he do?
I want to see Chan play in midfield.
Okay, cool. I want to see him...
You've had yours, what's Aubrey's? Nothing.
Did it? No, I said you can have
Aubrey. I just want to see him... I want to see that big fucking smile of his when we win. That's all I want to see. This is the difference now. Let us know yours, actually. If there's one thing, what I say, in terms of players, in terms of tactics, if there's anything, one thing that Brendan Rodgers didn't do that you would like to see happen on Saturday, and then building towards the future, let us know what that be in the comments below. Score predictions, Aubrey?
1-1.
Okay.
2-1 to us.
2-1 to us, Chris.
1-0 to Liverpool.
Ooh, yeah. You know what? I'm totally optimistic. I'm totally buzzing for it, and I'm hoping to anti-jinx it to some extent by saying it'll be 1-1, but so which is the same as every result we've had this season.
1-0 to us.
But but
we're going to win the possession again, like just what's here in charge.
But it'll be that where you see the improvements and you see that the approach looks loads better. Maybe we're a bit unlucky with it, and then but it's enough conclusively to bomb out like Lovren forever or Skirtle forever or whatever.
Switching it round from what I'd like to see, what I don't want to see is a defensive error giving them a goal.
Yeah.
If we can actually cut out defensive errors, that would be brilliant.
Yeah.
Again, though, Johnny has only got 2
He's only got 2
days.
days.
Well, it might just be simple, like saying you
Don't
dropped
do
if
it,
you do
or you get
it.
slapped.
Don't forget, boys, we have to change from doubter to believer. Like, we have to keep saying that over in our heads over and over.
I predicted a win with a fucking without conceding a goal there, mate.
3-0.
I'm a proper
You're fully
believer.
a believer,
Yeah,
yeah.
fuck it, why not?
Drank the Kool-Aid.
Right,
Big time.
there we go. Then let us know your.
That's getting fine.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's. Are you celebrating? Yeah, there we go. That's that. That's a thing. Let us know your score predictions. Let us know your one thing you'd like to see change. Let us know what you think the starting 11 would be as well. All in the comments below. And if you want more on Liverpool and Klopp and the future, we did a 2-part special on the redmentv.com where we looked at Klopp mania, and then part 2 was focused on transfers, who we want to see come in, which Dortmund players we'd like to see, who'd be good, who won't be good, etc, etc, etc. All very good stuff. It's on the redmentv.com. It's completely free for a month. Check it out.
I think he's going to need time and patience, and probably Liverpool are better. The Liverpool fan base are better at that than most clubs.
Yeah, I think we are. I mean, there is a bit of a danger with Hodgson and Dalglish and Rodgers that we might change that, but I think every Liverpool fan thinks that Klopp's a perfect fit for us, so he will be given time. He's united the fan base already before the game's even started. What I wanted to ask you about with Spurs is, where do you think your danger men are? Who are the people that we need to look out for this weekend?
I think